This is Diana Sullivan in Austin, Texas. Today I want to show you how to do some really great looking flying geese triangles using graphic short rows. There are no floats. This is a fast, easy way to make an Intarsia looking color work item and yet no floats. So let's hop in and get started. I'm going to begin by casting on and knitting a few rows with a solid color, and then we're going to do some triangles that are a dark color on a white background. I started my project with a little plain hem. It's just an 8-row hem, and I put 3 weights on it. Now you're probably thinking that's a lot of weight for a little mid-gauge sample, and that's exactly right. It is a lot of weight. But I have found that if I use the 3 weights, one of them in the center right under the middle of the triangle, that I don't have to move the weights until they hit the floor, which is pretty convenient. Now I'm going to short row this, which means I have to have my Russell levers on one, and there are 2 of these Russell levers. One is on the left side of the carriage, one's on the right side of the carriage. They have a little embossed 1 and 2 on them, so they both go forward in the 1. This will be true if you have a studio machine. If you have an LK150, they're in a different place, but they are called Russell levers, and you put them on 1. If you're using a brother, you want to put it in hold, so it'll short row. There's only 1 lever on a brother. It'll short row both ways. Now, to short row the triangle, I'm going to bring out a stitch on each end and then knit across. If you look closely at this, the yarn knits along, and then when it gets to the needle that's out of work, it just lays it on top. And I'm going to do the same thing, bringing out a needle on each end, then knitting a row quite a few times to make that triangle. This goes really fast, and I find it fun. I enjoy putting different colors in, or using striping yarn that changes colors gradually. I think that's fun for these triangles. Now you'll notice right away that the middle is longer than the sides. Let me pull down a little so you can see. Look how much farther down the center weight is compared to the 2 side weights. That's because it's currently only knitting over these few needles in the middle. There are lots of ways to short row, and I know it can be kind of confusing. When I write a pattern, I try everything to get the best looking short row I can get on that graphic design. And that's what I did here. I have a whole trash can full of samples. So that's what you get when I write a pattern. I do all that work so you don't have to. It makes it a little confusing to learn to do short rowing when there's so many ways to do it. But I think practice is the solution to that, because there are different ways work better for different situations. Now, every time I put one of these triangles in, my dark color is going to leave me with an end to hide, and I want this to be quick. So, wanting it to be quick, I wrapped it around about 8 needles, and that end will be hidden when I start working with the white. Now I'm going to put this middle needle out, and I'm going to start doing the short row of the white. Now the white, I'm going to do a triangle on one side first. So using my little sample to illustrate, I did this triangle. Now I'm going to do that triangle, and I've got a method that is really fast and easy. So start by threading with the white. There's no tension change and no setting change. Push 3 needles back halfway into what we call upper working position. That's also in work. And when I go across, it knits those three. Now I'm going to bring this one back and hold. So when I go back, it doesn't knit that one. But now I'm going to put three more back and knit, and then bring one forward and knit back. And this is a repeat thing until I get to the middle. Now I'm using an odd number of needles, and my center stitch is number 1 right. It's just to the right of the 0 mark. So something different happens when we get there. 3 and 1. 3 into work, 1 back and hold. 3 into work, 1 back and hold. And you see this weight falls down as I work, so that keeps weight on this. Without weight, short rowing just doesn't work right. 3 and 1 and 3 and 1. Now this is my center needle, so that's going to be the end of this triangle. My next row is a repositioning row, and I want to knit all the way to the left. I have not knitted the center needle in white yet. I only want to go over it once with white. I want my triangles to be close together. I've knitted this stitch to the right of it once. So if I push these in, I can reposition, not have to cut my white yarn, come over to the side and make the triangle on the left. I'm interrupting this technique for a very quick announcement. Starting in July, I am doing another online seminar. It's a great value with many new patterns over 5 afternoon classes. Attend sessions live or watch them later since they are recorded. We'll have a private group where we can get to know each other, and we'll post the class videos, handouts, and patterns there. Click on the link for the details and do come join us. And now for the left triangle. There is no setting change. I am going to put all but 3 of the needles into hold. So these are my 3 in work, and I knit toward the center, and then I pull 1 out of work and go back. 3 in work, knit toward the center, pull 1 out of work and go back. 3 in work, 1 out of work, 3 in work, 1 out of work or hold, 3 in work, 1 out of work. Now I'm just watching for my needle 1. 3 in work, 1 out of work, 3 in work. Now this is my needle 1. This is my right one. It is my center needle. So I pull 1 out of work and I knit to the left, and I'm done with the white yarn for a while. But we don't want to hide too many ends, do we? I hid this brown end by doing an E-wrap. I have scissors handy. I'll just cut that kind of close, and I'll use the clothespin again in a little while. Then on this side, I want to keep this yarn. I can park this yarn. To make it clear that I can keep working with the white without cutting the yarn, I'm here. Well, of course, the wrong side's facing me, but if I were on this side, I would be here. And you can see if I do white here, I can do white again here. There's just 1 row there. So white can be carried up. But I am going to change to whatever color is next in my ball of self-striping yarn. So I am unthreading the white, and I'm going to park it. And what I mean by park is take your yarn out of the feeder, down below everything, under the end of the needle bed. And I have it caught under the end of the needle bed, way over on my left, right there, and it'll stay there and it won't interfere with what I'm doing. That means I'll have a whole lot less ends to hide. Now I'm going to do my next triangle, which means I'm going to knit all the way across these needles. So to knit all the way across the needles, these go in work. You could change your carriage setting and knit across. You have to remember to put it back right away. That's worthwhile if it's a big triangle, but for these, my little pusher is fine. And I take my yarn. It's still kind of a mustardy, goldy brown color, and I'm going to knit all the way across. Now, you probably guessed, what I'm going to do now is shape this triangle just like the one below. So that is one needle and a hold on both sides. And I'm going to do that by using a high speed on my editing. So that'll just speed up this process, and I'll be right back after that. Now I've knitted the point stitch, and I'm going to hide this end. This yarn has to be cut after each triangle, so as I did before, I will hide the end. I'm going to bring this needle out like that. I was knitting toward the left, so I'll e-wrap it toward the left this time. The way that I've arranged all the short row rigmarole alternates where I end up with my white yarn from one time to the next. I'm going to thread the white yarn, and I'm going to knit a left triangle right here. So off I go, 3 in work, 1 back and hold, 3 in work, 1 in hold, 3 in work, 1 in hold, 3 in work, just like before. I have to be a little bit mindful as I approach my center stitch. 3 in work. My center stitch is this one. So I'm going to go just to here, put that in hold, and return to the left. And it was a little tight push because of the way I hid my yarn. Now I'll put that in hold, return to the left. I can cut this yarn now. It was e-wrapped in. The ones on the side edges are pretty easy to sew in to whatever you use for a border or a join, but these ones kind of in the middle, not as easy to do. Now I'm going to go all the way across with the white so that I'll be on the right, and I can do a triangle on the right. And I know it looks pretty funny right now. That looks like a parallelogram, but I'm going to turn it into a triangle, I promise. So to get across and knit everything with my white, I push these needles into upper working position, knit across, and now to do the right triangle, everything goes in hold except the rightmost 3 needles. And I do that same routine. Now this is my last increase, because this one right here is my center stitch, and I only want 1 row of white over it. So I'm going to put this in hold, knit back to the right. That ends my yarn at the right edge, I can unthread my yarn and park it under the right-hand end of the knitting machine, and it'll be ready to use after I do another triangle. Now I'm going to do another triangle. So I am threading the yarn. I'm going to just put this in fast forward for you, and you can see me do the whole next process very quickly. You can always stop a video to get a better look. Here's the finished sample after I added borders all around. Of all the short row methods I tried, this one produced the straight lines and sharp corner points I wanted. Short row graphics have no strings on the back, knit up quickly, and are fun to use for both planned color schemes and for scrappy projects. I hope you'll try it.